In the heart of Rome, Italy, a businessman named Claudio arrives at his office building and heads for the elevator. He receives a call from his terrified wife, Irina, who tells him about strange, unprovoked attacks happening all over the city.
Irina says that due to multiple clashes on the streets, the authorities have ordered several road closures and established control units.
As they try to handle the situation, the lights in the elevator suddenly begin to flicker before it grinds to a halt. Claudio quickly tells his wife what has happened. Irina asked him to stop by the supermarket after work, as she can't go herself due to the heavy traffic. Upon hearing this, Claudio immediately becomes angry. He scolds his wife with an annoyed tone, as he already has enough problems to deal with at the company. Shortly after, Claudio contacts the security team. They tell him to wait a moment while they investigate. Meanwhile, realizing he'll be late for his meeting, the young businessman calls his secretary, Sarah, to ask if the clients are still waiting. Sarah says she is trying her best to keep the clients calm. Claudio tells her to wait a moment, confident he will reach the office soon. While waiting for the elevator to start working again, Claudio hears footsteps outside the car. Desperate, he shouts for help, asking someone to get him out, but there is no response. He feels angry at being ignored by whoever is on the other side. As time passes, Sarah calls back again, telling him that the clients are starting to lose their patience.
Furious about being stuck, Claudio starts banging loudly on the door
and shouting threats at the person outside to open the elevator for him.
He then presses the emergency button and asks the operator to contact his colleagues who are fixing the elevator on the rooftop. Claudio heavily reprimands the security team for letting so many problems occur, but just then,
the operator on the other end starts screaming in panic before the line is cut. With no other option, the young businessman takes off his suit jacket and tries to pry open the elevator doors with his bare hands.
After much effort, Claudio manages to pry the door open slightly. He quickly shouts for help through the opening, but still, no one answers. Claudio thinks the employees must have all gone home. He tries to squeeze through the gap but fails.
His mental state begins to deteriorate.
A few minutes later, Claudio receives a call from his now terrified wife. She tells him a mysterious man is knocking frantically at their door.
Claudio tells Irina to call the police immediately, but she says she can't get through to them.
Claudio tells her to lock herself in a room and find a hiding place. Then, he quickly calls Stefano, his driver, and asks him to go to the house to protect Irina.
Afterwards, Claudio gets back on the phone with his wife.
Irina says she is now following the numerous emergency reports.
They reveal that hundreds of people have started to lose their minds, and the number of frantic attacks is rapidly increasing across all areas of Rome, as if a large criminal organization is trying to take over the city. Claudio tells his wife that Stefano will arrive in a few minutes. He asks her to stay calm, suggesting the news might be exaggerating the situation. Hearing this, Irina tries to calm down and asks Claudio to call her often so she knows he is still safe.
As soon as he hangs up, Claudio starts to get stressed. He picks up his phone to read the news about the ongoing attacks, and at that very moment, Claudio hears a scream.
It comes from the hallway in front of the elevator. Peeking out, he sees a number of people running for their lives. Shortly after, Marta appears and begs him to open the elevator so she can take refuge.
But before she can get in, the young woman is dragged away by her pursuers. In a panic, Claudio tries with all his might to grab Marta's arm, but his efforts are futile.
Marta is taken down by a zombie right before his eyes, leaving Claudio in a state of deeper despair.
As he tries to process what just happened, Claudio slowly approaches the elevator door. At that moment, he is startled.
Two zombies appear and try to squeeze through the opening to get to him.
However, the zombies hear the screams of another survivor.
They change their target, leaving a terrified Claudio trembling in the elevator.
Claudio quickly contacts Stefano and tells him what happened. But during the conversation, Stefano is in a severe accident, and the call is cut off abruptly. While Claudio is sitting hopelessly, he receives a call from a security officer. who reports that he couldn't find the colleagues on the rooftop. Claudio quickly yells at him to go back inside a room because what they are facing
is not just terrorists, but a spreading zombie outbreak. However, the officer doesn't listen to Claudio's warning.
Hearing a knock on the door, he decides to open it and is immediately attacked by a zombie, causing the communication system to go down.
Claudio feels utterly defeated, realizing that from now on, he will have to survive alone.
He grows increasingly anxious and tries to call his wife to check if she is still safe, but
the problem is Lorena doesn't answer the phone, making Claudio even more distraught and believe that she might already be dead.
Suddenly, Sarah calls.
Just as Claudio is about to answer the call, Marta, who has now turned into a zombie, spots him. Claudio quickly retreats.
He grabs an iron rod and strikes Marta several times until she is knocked unconscious. Then, Claudio grabs a water bottle to clean himself. He uses the iron rod to push Marta's body as far away as possible, then tears paper from a notebook and places it on the floor to soak up the surrounding blood.
Just then, Claudio hears something moving down the hallway.
He quickly hides, but when he peeks out, he finds
that she is not a zombie,
but a woman named Sylvia.
After they make eye contact,
Claudio tries to calm her down, telling her that they will get out of this building together. Claudio asks Sylvia to use the iron rod to pry the elevator door open so he can get out. After several attempts, the two manage to pry the elevator door open a little more, but then Claudio drops the iron rod, making a loud noise.
Panicked, he tries to pull Sylvia inside, but fails. Sylvia decides to run and find a hiding place.
Suddenly, a zombie appears and lunges at Claudio.
He quickly backs away in shock, but Sylvia comes to his rescue just in time. She hits it several times with a golf club until the zombie lies still.
Claudio thanks her sincerely.
Sylvia then tells him that she just destroyed Mr. Martini's favorite golf club.
Who is their boss? Claudio then reveals that
the zombie she just took care of was Mr. Martini himself.
Because they were busy talking,
Sylvia gets distracted and is suddenly attacked by a group of zombies.
They drag her body away, and Claudio can do nothing to help.
Confused and deeply saddened, he turns to his mobile phone for news updates. The news reveals that the army has now moved in to control the chaotic situation in the capital.
Worried about his wife, Claudio tries to contact Lorena again.
She is relieved
to find that her husband is still alive. Claudio says hopelessly that
he doesn't think he's going to make it.
Lorena tries to encourage him.
Later, Lorena notices a zombie about to break into the house.
She quickly calls her husband in a panic. Claudio tries to find a way to help her. He tells Lorena to quickly push a cabinet against the door. Lorena then asks what she should do next, but Claudio admits to her that he doesn't know either.
In the end, the zombie breaks down the door, and Claudio has to listen to the sound of his wife being killed, unable to help her at all.
Not long after, an employee is walking cautiously down the hallway and comes across Claudio, still stuck in the elevator.
The employee asks what's going on.
Claudio replies that he doesn't know what caused the chaos either and advises the man to run before the zombies find him. At that moment, the man is attacked by a zombie, so he has to run for his life.
As several hours pass, Claudio starts to lose his mind.
He shouts for the zombies to come and get him, as if wanting to vent his rage at them. Then, Claudio sees Sarah being chased by a horde of zombies. He shouts for her to find a hiding place. Sarah runs to a room, but can't get the door open. Claudio tries to help her by making as much noise as he can. Claudio even throws his watch at the horde to distract them, but despite his best efforts, he can't draw the zombies' attention away from Sarah. A few seconds later, they successfully break down the door to the room, and Sarah is brutally mauled by dozens of zombies.
The immense loss within a single day drives Claudio nearly insane.
He can no longer bear to watch innocent people being killed before his eyes. To keep up with this situation, Claudio uses his mobile phone to follow the news.
While searching for information, he comes across a video clip of a female reporter. In the clip, she reveals that all police units
are now confronting the disaster and warns that citizens should evacuate the city as quickly as possible. But as she is reporting, the reporter is suddenly attacked by two zombies and
The sound from Claudio's phone draws the zombies back to the elevator door.
they try to squeeze through the opening to get him.
At the same time, the building's power goes out, plunging the car into complete darkness. Shortly after, the zombies are shot dead with a shotgun, hoping it might be the police. Claudio quickly shouts for help.
The man appears and says he is a soldier from a special unit who has lost contact with command and all of his team members.
At that moment, Claudio notices one of the zombies getting up.
He immediately shouts a warning to the man.
The soldier manages to fend off the attack and shoots the zombie down. Since they can't open the elevator door, the soldier decides to go up to the electrical control panel on the roof to find a way to get Claudio out.
Before leaving, the soldier introduces himself as Marcello.
So that Claudio can help guide him.
Marcello gives him a walkie-talkie, as well as a pistol for self-defense.
While waiting for Marcello to return, Claudio hears gunshots in the distance.
He uses the walkie-talkie to ask what's happening.
Marcello says he encountered 4 zombies on the way and dealt with them easily. Upon reaching the 9th floor, Marcello says he can't get to the roof because several pieces of furniture are blocking the stairs, as if used for some kind of barricade. Hearing that, Claudio pauses to think for a moment and remembers that the 9th floor is currently under renovation. He figures there must be scaffolding outside. Marcello heads to another room and indeed finds the scaffolding left by the workers. After successfully climbing to the next floor, Marcello asks Claudio to be quiet as he is about to pass through an area full of zombies. Later, Marcello confirms he has found the exit to the roof. Claudio then warns him to be careful when opening the door because there was an attack at that spot earlier.
Then, Marcello reaches the electrical panel.
He manages to restore the building's power, but as soon as the elevator starts working, Claudio notices something is blocking the door.
Suspicious, he turns on his phone's flashlight to investigate, but then he is caught off guard and attacked by a zombie.
Claudio quickly grabs the gun to defend himself. He misses several shots but finally manages to kill the zombie. However, the sound of the gunshots attracts a large number of zombies to the door. Seeing that Claudio is in a state of panic, Marcello tells him to stay calm.
Claudio then uses the pistol to shoot all the zombies.
He feels as if he's becoming a murderer, because the zombies he killed
were once his colleagues.
Marcello tries to comfort Claudio, saying that those zombies could never have turned back into humans.
At that very moment,
Marcello cries out. The young soldier has been attacked by a horde of zombies. Moreover, they
also destroyed his walkie-talkie. Claudio must now survive on his own once again.
He tries to compose himself and looks at a photo of his wife. Suddenly, Claudio sees a group of survivors running through the building, fighting and shooting at the zombies as they go. But due to the loud noise, Claudio is unable to get their attention.
By nighttime, Claudio begins to lose all hope of survival, and to end all the suffering, he decides to end his own life. When he comes to his senses, Claudio is shocked by what he was about to do. He screams out in despair.
The sound is loud enough to attract several zombies to the elevator door.
Claudio tells them he won't give them the satisfaction of killing him and prepares to end it all himself. Before he can do it,
Claudio hears a call from Marcello,
who managed to escape the horde. He rappels down to the roof of the elevator car via a cable.
Claudio uses the iron rod to pry open the roof hatch, and finally, Marcello successfully gets inside the car. Then he
uses the shotgun to take care of all the zombies.
Once he is sure that it's safe, Marcello sits down next to his friend. Claudio quickly asks what happened on the rooftop.
Marcello says that even though he escaped from the zombies,
he was bitten on the leg. Thinking that there's likely no way out of here, the two give up hope and contemplate their final moments. Claudio asks Marcello how it all started. Marcello explains that the attacks began at dawn, and just a few hours after his team was deployed, he lost contact with them. Their conversation turns somber as they begin to talk about their wives. Claudio admits that he deeply regrets everything he ever did to hurt Lorena, especially since he couldn't protect her in her final moments. Shortly after, Marcello starts coughing continuously.
He tells Claudio he's going to rest for a bit. Marcello also orders Claudio to keep the gun and shoot him in the head if he passes out, to prevent him from turning into a zombie.
However,
Claudio refuses to do it.
Marcello then says if he won't help, Marcello will take care of it himself.
Claudio tries to stop him, but gets punched hard in the face by Marcello. The accumulated exhaustion causes Marcello to weaken rapidly, and he finally gives up on his intention.
The entire city has now been completely abandoned.
Almost the entire population has been taken out by the zombie horde.
Inside the elevator, Marcello's condition worsens, but Claudio still refuses to kill him. Pus begins to ooze from Marcello's wound.
As the infection spreads throughout his body, the mutation process begins, and Marcello finally turns into a zombie. Before Claudio can react, he is grabbed by Marcello. During the struggle, Claudio accidentally fires a bullet, hitting his own leg.
He then shoots Marcello in the torso to make him back off before hitting him in the head with the gun, then pulling the trigger one last time, just as his friend had asked.
The action draws the attention of other zombies, which head straight for him again. Claudio takes off his tie to bind his leg and stop the bleeding.
Seeing that his pistol is out of bullets, he picks up Marcello's shotgun.
He fights the zombie horde, but the gun's recoil is so strong that it sends Claudio flying into a wall, knocking him out instantly. At dawn, Claudio wakes up to the sound of gunfire from a group of people exploring the building.
He doesn't even shout for help. Claudio just sits quietly
and looks down the hallway. Then, his mobile phone rings. He picks it up and sees an unknown number calling. When he answers, Claudio discovers it's his wife, Lorena. She tells him she survived because a group of soldiers rescued her.
Hearing his wife's voice and knowing she's still alive, Claudio is overwhelmed with emotion.
But before they can talk more, his phone battery dies. Claudio is once again determined to survive.
He tries to pry the elevator door open with the iron rod, and by climbing on top of Marcello's body,
Claudio is able to grab the object that was causing the obstruction.
Once the elevator door opens, he walks towards the building's lobby.
Claudio encounters the corpses of victims.
On the way, he sees a zombie that is still alive, but whose legs have been severed from its body.
Since he's out of bullets, Claudio uses his foot to finish off the zombie.
After leaving the building,
Claudio walks down the destroyed street and
finds some food placed next to a zombie's corpse.
But as he reaches for it, he finds that the zombie is still alive.
Claudio quickly pulls back to avoid being bitten. Suddenly, the zombie is shot by a soldier.
Claudio looks around and feels an immediate sense of relief, as he has finally found a military unit. Claudio quickly signals his position to the sniper and waits hopefully for rescue. Now, his heart is filled with excitement at the prospect of seeing his wife, Lorena, again.
And that's where the movie ends.